But pyroclastic flows are not the only deadly force in Vesuvius's arsenal. It has an ultimate weapon. Rivers of molten rock that pour down the mountainside to burn and bury, all in its path. Vesuvius has yet another deadly weapon in its arsenal, one that was captured on film during its most recent eruption on March 18th, 1944.
Cameras record the spectacle of Mount Vesuvius.
A 5-mile-high cloud of ash climbed into the sky over Vesuvius. Pyroclastic flows rushed down its slopes. But worse was to come. Floods of molten rock overflowed from the lip of the crater to swallow up entire Italian villages. 34 died, and thousands were left homeless. These rivers of magma on the surface of the Earth are called lava flows.
One of the most prominent features in Vesuvius landscape today is this river of molten lava, solidified lava, on the sides of Vesuvius.
There are significant deposits of the 1944 lava flow extending 12 miles down the side of the cone.
And looking at it closely, I can see that there are no bubbles.
Unlike the lightweight pumice that rained on Pompeii, this solidified lava is dense and hard.
And actually, that is the clue that is telling me that this was not an explosive eruption. This wasn't hurled into the air. Instead, the gases seeped through the lava before they came to the surface.
Only a very free-flowing and liquid lava could have let the gases escape underground in this way. And with very little explosive gas left inside the lava, it flowed out rather than burst out of the volcano.
Lavas will flow down the slope using the easiest way, and this is going to be very much the same path as water will take.
Floods of lava at more than 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit poured down the slopes. Lava flows are the hottest natural material on the face of the Earth, Vesuvius's ultimate weapon, an unstoppable force destroying all in their path.
The word lava, it actually comes from the Italian, and it was coined in here. It comes from lavare, which is to wash. And it is basically explaining how lava flows, once they move over a city, they wash out everything. Nothing is left.
Since 1944, Vesuvius has been quiet. A calm has settled on the people living in its shadow, and today Vesuvius is even a popular tourist attraction. But teams of scientists still go into the crater searching for any signs that the volcano may be awakening.
Okay, let's go.
It's a 1,000-foot drop to the crater floor.
Let's go down slowly. There are a lot of rock falling today.
The volcano is crumbling in on itself. The walls made up of loose rock thrown out in the 1944 eruption are slowly collapsing back into the crater. Even before he reaches the bottom, Orsi can see and smell gas and feel the heat of volcanic activity.
Yeah, the smoke you see around here, it's gas coming through fumaroles.
A fumarole is a crack in the Earth's crust which emits steam and gas from deep underground.
And it's an indication, one of the indications that the volcano is still active.
A live volcano positioned next to a city of 3 million needs to be under constant surveillance. So much so that it is now the most closely monitored volcano on Earth.
composition of the gas and temperature, it's related to the state of the volcano.
These gases are the volcano's early warning system. Any significant change in their temperature or composition would set the scientists' alarm bells ringing. Today's examination shows no change. So, for the moment, Naples is safe. But this lack of activity is not necessarily a reassuring sign.
So I think there is a pattern on how Vesuvius behave in terms of you seem to have a period of quietness, and then you have a very large eruption, and then you tend to have a period of quietness, and then another large eruption.
So the danger is, the longer the volcano stays quiet, the more magma is allowed to accumulate. So when it does finally erupt, the bigger the blast will be. New clues at Vesuvius have concerned the volcanologists who are investigating its deadly power. Dense, solidified rock is evidence that Vesuvius possesses the ultimate weapon: high-temperature lava flows capable of destroying all in their path. Hot fumaroles in the crater prove the volcano is still active. But new scientific techniques reveal a vast magma bomb hidden miles underneath the volcano. A bomb that is primed and could blow at any time. Scientists have uncovered clues suggesting that the awesome power of Mount Vesuvius could soon be unleashed in a massive and devastating explosion.
For an eruption to happen, volcanoes need two things. They need a source of magma, which is a magma chamber close to the surface, and they also need a trigger. It's a bit like a bomb and a fuse. So once you have these two things in place, it could blow at any time.
The key evidence is bubbling up through the ground just 10 miles west of the volcano.
So my overriding sense of this area is one of intense heat. When all around me, it's not just the sun that's hot and baking down, and there's steaming gas coming out of the ground and cracks and fissures. So if the whole ground is kind of alive with thermal activity. And it just tells me, screaming out loud, that there's heat just percolating up from the ground towards me.
The steam gets to temperatures as high as 300 degrees Fahrenheit.
And the steam is also coming up with a gas called sulfur dioxide, and I can smell it really strong. In fact, it's almost choking when you get the wind blowing it into your face. So the telltale sign of this activity, the sulfur dioxide activity, is the coating of yellow material, yellow sulfur crystals, on all the rocks around me. There's only one thing on Earth that can drive this kind of activity: the sulfur, the hot geothermal springs, and the hot gas, and that's magma at quite shallow levels.
For years, scientists have known that a chamber of molten rock lies under Vesuvius, but nobody could see it. Then, in 2001, geologists used a pioneering new technology to investigate the ground under and around the mountain. It's similar to the way a doctor uses ultrasound equipment to reveal the shape and size of a human baby in the womb. At Vesuvius, volcanologists used sound waves, billions of times more powerful, to take a picture under the earth. They detonated small explosions at different locations around the volcano, radiating waves out under the ground. Measuring the speed of the waves reveals whether the rock through which they're traveling is solid or more liquid, hotter or colder than the surrounding ground. Computers mapping the wave movements from the surface print out a ghostly but terrifying shape.
For the first time, seeing that sort of information is very exciting for geologists.
The magma chamber is so wide, it stretches well beyond the 1-mile base of the cone itself.
It's 250 square miles, or about half the size of New York City, so that's quite an impressive feature.
It's not only impressive, it's also potentially deadly. The vast reservoir of molten magma could fuel Vesuvius's greatest eruption. But still, no one knows for sure what might set off this seemingly inactive magma.
Well, there's some really exciting evidence that's been found that suggests that Vesuvius might have a bit of an unusual trigger.
In searching for the secret trigger mechanism of Vesuvius, Dr. Petford examines the pattern of when past eruptions have occurred.
What this line here represents is a timeline from 1600, where I'm stood, up to pretty much now.
Each stick represents an eruption of Vesuvius during the last 400 years.
And the first one is here at about 1631. And then there have been 3 more significant volcanic eruptions.
As the timeline takes shape, Dr. Petford inputs more data. This time, the dates of another seemingly unrelated set of natural disasters.
We've got records of earthquake activity as well. So I'm going to use these stones here to represent earthquakes. And these would be earthquakes that took place within about 100 miles of the volcano.
As Dr. Petford positions the major earthquakes of the last 400 years, a pattern emerges between the tremors and activity at Vesuvius. It has been possible to investigate this supposed link only because there are such uniquely detailed records about the volcano.